Welcome or welcome back to the TECHNESS Corner. I'm your host Seb Luca, otherwise known as Sebastian Lucas, and welcome back. I apologize real quick for the exposure you may be seeing. The sun is up and the first camera we generally utilize hasn't got the best feature set. It still works, so yeah, we only need it for the purpose of the intro for the time being, so I haven't got a spare $5,000 to $7,000 to upgrade that camera. I'm sorry, y'all. But finally it's arrived. You're probably here because of a lack of clickbait, even though the thumbnail may look clickbaity. I apologize for that. The most popular keyboard imaginable, at least when it comes to sales on Amazon, has arrived. It's been around for a number of years now. I've got the stripped down base version, which is what I'm expecting. It's in the parcel to my right. And yeah, it's about time that we get into the unboxing and overview of what is the most popular keyboard out there currently. So let's go. Hey y'all, and welcome back again to the TECHNESS Corner with your host Seb Luca, myself. So what are we unboxing again in the end? Well, at first glance it's a parcel. You can see it in the top left corner of your screen, already unboxed per se. And what is it? It's the Redragon K552 KUMARA LED backlit mechanical gaming keyboard. Now this keyboard, to cut a long story short, is, I'll pop it down for the side beam and I'll run you through the gist of things, is one of the most popular keyboards available. So if you're looking to get a mechanical keyboard, RGB based keyboard, this isn't the RGB version. I opted for the cheaper still, just backlit with the red accent, mechanical keyboard variant. You can pick them up for approximately 30 to 40 US dollars, the RGB variants. Otherwise, approximately 30 Australian dollars for the just a backlit red variant. Now, these are really popular because as mechanical keyboards go, they're one of the cheapest, bestest mechanical keyboards you can get. So if you're looking at dabbling in the mechanical range of keyboards available and are on a tight budget, from what I understand from reviews given as well as just general sales volume, because if you have a look at the equivalents for sale on the Amazon website, you'll see that it's in the 30 to 50,000 units sold range. They are the best bang for buck keyboard that you can get. Also, secretly, on a side note, if you're planning on dabbling in anything like modding keyboards perhaps, then this is a great basis to work on, providing some of the pros and cons, or the cons in this regards don't dismay you from utilizing this keyboard as a base. Now, from my understanding, it uses Omni switches and whatnot, so they're not your official like cherry red switches and whatnot, but they're pretty much a carbon copy of them in regards to execution, providing you get the right color base for what you're after. Now, I'm expecting to get the Cherry MX equivalent blues, which are your more tactile, really loud, clicky keyboard switches with this keyboard, but we never know what Amazon sent us. There may have been a mistake in regards to what they sent us, because it's happened before in the past, and we may have an RGB variant of the red switches for all we know. So that's another reason to unpack this parcel and get into the unboxing video. So again, welcome to the unboxing of the Redragon K552 keyboard, otherwise known as the KUMARA LED backlit mechanical gaming keyboard, produced by Redragon. And yeah, let's have a look at what we got in the box and what we got to play with today. So let's go. So as a true unboxing video may go, we're going to run through pretty much all aspects of the unboxing with a slight overview of the product itself. And yeah, I'll let you guys decide whether you want to delve further into whether this is the right budget entry-level mechanical keyboard for you guys. So without keeping you waiting any longer, let's get into this, what is essentially more a pure unboxing video, as I don't possess as much keyboard know-how as many other reviewers out there when it comes to this product. I might not be the best to describe it essentially, but initially I've got no problems with unboxing it and giving you my verdict on whether it's worthwhile, and worthwhile the craze that is the KUMARA Redragon K552 LED backlit keyboard, which everyone seems to be getting in RGB. So for an extra 20-30 Australian dollars, you can get this in RGB, both in the Rainbow Edition and the pure RGB variant of this keyboard. Now, to cut a long story short, I've decided let's grab our trusted unboxing tool out. It has not seen much light for the time being. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a nip down here, and let's get into what is our unboxing of a KUMARA K552 backlit keyboard. And let's see what Amazon has sent us in the end. Ooh, nice. So let's pop this aside. Alrighty, so first glance, even though budget orientated, this keyboard comes in what is and what seems like a decently packaged item. Not only is the keyboard shiny, but also of a different degree, the printed wise, the black on the cardboard of the box itself. Produced by Redragon. Let's verify whether this is in fact the correct keyboard. Now it specifies it's dust proof, so it doesn't specify anything about it being spill resistant, which will be a shame. If it's not the spill resistant variant of this keyboard, it probably won't have the 3 drainage holes on the bottom side of it as well. If it has got those 3 drainage holes, then I have to debate whether it is or isn't. I'm not one to test that theory out, considering I haven't got disposable income. So yeah, so essentially I'm going to portray this out to you all. We've got a sticker here, which is the Redragon sticker emphasizing the seal. Now software, I believe, comes with these as well, more so for your RGB variant of the item if you are so inclined. Now supposedly the software doesn't work that well, if not work whatsoever at all, and it hasn't been supported for much after the uptake of these keyboards, and especially the uptake of these keyboards per se, for a period of time. Now the cool thing though is that this keyboard has firmware attached to the keyboard itself, which should be updated if you got the RGB variant of the Redragon K552 KUMARA LED backlit keyboard. It'll enable you to do some additional functionality pertaining to the RGB pertaining to this keyboard. On the other hand, the cool thing about this keyboard is because it's got firmware attached to the device itself, whatever profile you set up, from my understanding, and be it an extensive profile through the hardware itself on the keyboard, so taking the long route and not using the software, but using the extensions such as function and whatnot to control. So if you learn how to set it up that way, and you set it up color coded for everything that you do, then if you unplug it and take it somewhere else, to another computer, perhaps to a friend's place for a LAN, to work on videos, for example, video editing at another destination or something like that, it should just be plug and play, and your profile should be saved on the keyboard itself. Not like many other newer, even more higher expensive keyboards, where the profile is only saved on the software aspect, and that means you have to install that software and load up your profile from your home somewhere else, and that may not be as easily done as just playing something that may have taken a little bit longer to set up originally. But yeah, but I don't get that luxury. It's just pretty much all red from my understanding, unless there's a software or firmware upgrade which unlocks the red, and they've actually utilized all RGB lighting, never know, I might be able to unlock the red on this KUMARA K552 Redragon mechanical lit keyboard and essentially get something even more special and bang for buck. But I've already dabbled in looking in whether that is the case or not. I believe it's not, unfortunately. So we're going to have to continue on with that sort of info in mind. I opted for the blue tactile switches, and we're just going to run through the box itself and say what we see, guys, so that you guys can get a better understanding of what's there and what isn't. So have a closer look at that. As you can see, the shine on it and the back of it. On the sides we've got some, but not much of anything and everything, and we'll run through what that exactly is in a second's time. So on the front side of the box we've got KUMARA mechanical gaming keyboard, the Redragon logo. It says high speed, high control, high response. So from my understanding, the tactile response of these blue switches, actuation strength is about 50 grams. That equates to your cherry red switches or thereabouts, close to, and they're fairly quick as well. Now I believe they've got an anti-ghosting. Just to confirm, the model K552 87 red LED backlit, new, made in China. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe these are made in the Shenzhen or Shenzhen. I don't know exactly where they're made. I think they're made in the Shenzhen region, where a lot of electronics are made per se. And there's nothing wrong with that because they seem to be pushing them out and are doing a good job of these. Like I said, these keyboards, I believe, have a understated following, where you can take these keyboards as a base model, RGB model keyboard, and you can really go to work on them and change them around to your liking. If you're new to keyboard modding, I would suggest this is one of the keyboards you should grab to do so. All the types of switches are knockoffs, but because of that, they're cheaper than your true MX style switches and whatnot. And from my understanding, these blue ones have got that tactile, they've got a spring associated with them, so I can use the spring or not use the spring regarding if I was to change these out per se later on down the track. So that's another good reason we're getting the blue ones as opposed to the red or their brown equivalents, because the blues have got that spring attached to the keys as well, which you'd otherwise have to shell out for if you were to switch these over. Now it does specify dustproof blue on this side, and apart from that there's nothing much else. On one lip it says system support, XP, Vista, Win 7, Win 8, Win 10. As a USB keyboard, I expect it just to be plug and play with no drivers required per se. Units approximate size and weight. Length 354 millimeters, width 123.5 millimeters, height 37 millimeters, and weight 871.4 grams. Now, if that's the unit's actual size and weight pertaining to it on the inside, we shall see in a moment's time, as 871 grams is quite hefty and weighty for the keyboard by itself. So to verify, 123 in width. Yeah, so the box is larger, so it's referring to the weight of the keyboard itself, and from what I've heard, that's accurate. It's quite weighty, and it's because there is, I believe, a reinforced aluminium metal plate on the PCB, I believe, otherwise inside the keyboard itself, even though the outside of the keyboard's made of what is meant to be high quality, I believe, PVC plastic. Don't quote me on the PVC, but the quality isn't as shabby as you'd expect for a budget orientated keyboard. So getting to the gist of it, a logo that's printed here, and features on the KUMARA mechanical keyboard produced by Redragon. It's model K552, so it's version 2 of this keyboard. So hopefully that's not something that I should be sour about, but sometimes version 1 may have been much more expensive, you know. High quality LED backlit mechanical gaming keyboard, high precision machinery manufacturer, double injection keycaps, full key conflict free, so that refers to ghosting, spill proof, wing keys can be disabled in gaming like we always like. Apart from that, everything else is written in a language more suited for anyone else but myself. There is Polish there, so I can give Polish a go, read a little bit of it, but yeah, that's about it. So let's unearth this budget entry-level mechanical keyboard into the mix and see how we go. So I'm going to see if I can get around. So another cool thing is, if in fact this has a cult status, is yet to be established. Over the next couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we will establish that. But I got the red one because it was cheaper, but 2, because it's truly the original form factor of this keyboard itself. I'm trying to bolster up my keyboard collection and get back into keyboards, and I thought I've already got a couple of RGB spastic keyboards. Backlit with the red accent will be fine pertaining to this. If I really like it for some reason, I can always get that RGB variant of it as well. But as you can see, it comes neatly packaged in the box. So I'll flip it around. We'll take it out. It's got bubble wrap. I'll push it just there, and then we'll see what's sort of nagged and caught here. So we've got a cord here. We've got what looks like to be a key puller. I've seen other variants of key pullers before. I'm not an expert, but it just so happens that I'll pop that key puller there. It just so happens that supposedly the better variants of key pullers are these over here, which do sort of, I believe, less damage on your keys because they slot straight under and pull them up subsequently. These can scratch your keys up a little bit, so it's something to be wary of if you plan to use those keys again when pulling them with one of these. But they do the job if you're careful enough. I guess they do the job properly as well. But yeah, this is one of the better variants which you can get nowadays, which don't cost much whatsoever. So I'll pop that aside, and I plan to do a little bit of modding on this keyboard straight off the bat. What sort of modding do you ask? Well, I've got a spare escape key which says GG on it, so I thought I might change that key over to a GG key instead of the escape variant that it is. So that's the extent of my modding. Like I said, I'm not a professional modder, but in the box as well we get our Redragon, not KUMARA, but Redragon logo sticker, which seems pretty cool. If it's see-through, you can use that if you're a sticker lover. And we also get our Redragon KUMARA wired mechanical gaming keyboard instruction manual. There are pre-established modes which are more prevalent if you have the RGB variant, but for games like Call of Duty, first-person shooters in general, LOL or Dota games, car racing games and whatnot, you've got pre-made custom profile lighting profiles as well, and again a bit more prevalent on the RGB variant, but just in red in this mode here would highlight set key specific, would work just as well, I guess, unless you want to color code those keys as well. And it's got 12 multimedia keys, but they aren't dedicated multimedia keys, so you do have to press function combined with the media key to get the action to occur. And from that being said, that's about as much information as you get that is in English in the manual. So it does emphasize here that it is spill proof, although how much so is for the brave at heart to test and find out. So that being said, at first glance, from my understanding, this cable that it comes with is non-detachable. Again, modders have done stuff with it where they've applied USB-C connection points and whatnot, even made them wireless internally, something to consider. But it does come with a 1.8 meter non-braided line, but it is quite thick and durable, it seems, this USB connection, this USB cable. Unfortunately, I wish it did have a detachable cable, because it's one of the first things that you can easily mod out. Also, if something happens to the cable itself, it doesn't completely kill what is essentially your KUMARA K552 keyboard. Now obviously buying a new cable as opposed to buying this, or high quality cable as opposed to buying this, will cost you around the same amount. But if you've gone out of your way to mod this keyboard, perhaps one of the first things I think you should do if you're planning on doing a hardcore mod is to mod that cable first and make sure that it's detachable and can be easily changed, so that if you stuff it up or you stuff anything else up, or the keyboard breaks itself in some way, shape or form, then, or the cable breaks itself, you can easily replace that and you don't have to worry about all that extra modding that you've done to the keyboard, because the keyboard, from my understanding, is meant to be extremely durable as well for the price that you've paid, and that's something to definitely consider, guys. And the last thing you want to do is mod the whole keyboard over time and then go for a cable mod on it just to stuff the cable mod up as well after modding your whole keyboard. Do you get me? Because this is a bit finicky, and from what I understand, the mod involves, even though I'm not a modder, is literally cutting this at a set point. Internally you can keep a bit of the length there, so you've got something to play with, but you have to essentially cut this, strip the wires, and then attach them to what will probably be a USB-C attachment point, which you would mod in and anchor accordingly where you choose to have it. So yeah, that's something to consider. But this 1.8 meter cable, from my understanding, isn't too shabby. High speed wise, it doesn't have to be higher than USB 2.0. And if we look at that, it seems like it's gold plated, but that doesn't make too much of a difference. At the very least, it comes with what is a little USB protector per se. And now we're going to pull it out of the protective slipping, and ooh, I can tell you guys right now that it does feel quite hefty in weight. Something similar I had that was still larger still, but similar in nature, was a tournament Razer 10 keyless keyboard at one stage. I ended up selling it all off. Yeah guys, it was about this much in weight. I thought it was quite hefty as well. Unfortunately, I had the sleeper Razer software, and here it is. I'll let you guys get a closer look at it before I do. So I'll move it over to the lights, different angles. Now I am using the Brio 4K camera only in 1080p and maybe a little pixelated. I apologize, it's just a webcam, but that's it there. Closer look at the cord, and we're going to unravel this cord in a second and we're going to have a play around with it. Now I'll let you guys have a look at the back of what we're going to discuss first up. There seems to be a bit of oil on the back side, if you guys can see. Otherwise it's a fault in the plastic itself. But as you guys can see, it's got the sticker for Redragon. It looks like there might be some... No, I don't think there's any screw holes underneath. There's two tabs over here to elevate it and make it higher still. Couple of rubber grommets here and here, which from my understanding can be a little slippy still if they're on a plain desk, so maybe popping your own style of rubbery grommets may work better. But a couple of screws which help unscrew and hold the cord in place, and also from my understanding what is pretty high quality clicky legs for this keyboard per se, which we can open up here. I can already feel the rubber going all the way around, so there's rubber here and here, so when they're not in place they're still grippy, and that's much more grippier, that rubber, than what I understand these front ones over here, which are also quite durable as a result, but not as grippy. So I've got some rubber adhesive stuff which I can put and utilize around here, which won't damage it long term, which are slightly thicker than this, which will allow for much better grip to the desk at heart, the desk, be it whatever desk you're using. But since I generally speaking use mouse mat, I don't have that same sliding sliding to worry about that some people without a mouse mat or mouse pad may have in their case. Let's open up one of these. Okay, so all the way almost. All the way almost. Let's open up this one all the way almost. If you guys can hear this. Definitely a satisfying click on those. Nothing much more to the back side of it, be it does seem to have the spill holes, which are 3 holes over here angled downward, which will allow for liquid to come out if you spilled something in it. I'm not going to test that theory out. And looking at the back side of it, model KUMARA, model K552 version 2, I'm guessing, category wired mechanical gaming keyboard, rating 5 volt, 250 amps. It's got a serial number associated with it, making it all official. So definitely not number 1 in the chain, unfortunately, but considering we are keyboard novices at heart, even though I've been using keyboard probably for 10-20 years longer than some of these experts, so-called experts out there, that's something to consider. But yeah, we're going to undo and fix up this cable, y'all. This Velcro strip is attached to the keyboard, so that's cool. 1.8 meters, I guess so. It actually feels slightly less. I'm going to undo the stress on some of these joints and make sure that they are just curled now. And yeah, you guys never know, you might see me becoming a bit of a modder as well. Let's pop this back and only have as much slack as we actually need for the time being. That should be plenty. What I actually plan to do with this keyboard, had I gotten the RGB spasticated one, I would have probably given it to a friend of mine as a gift. The only way he'll get this as a gift, just to make sure that he enjoys it as much as everyone who has RGB stuff, the only way he'll get this one as a gift is if I successfully mod it to a nth degree, and as a result it's worthwhile for him to keep it over anything that's RGB infused in that manner. Now, with that being said, let's just see how it feels. So there's a Redragon logo, which is quite prominent. Some people dislike this. From my understanding, you can literally get an eraser and half wear it down and it'll take off that Redragon logo. It's not a sticker, and yet it's not also imprinted. But I don't have a problem with Redragon, at least as such at the moment. It might be something that you may consider if you are inclined to try to hide the manufacturer or trying to go, you know, but the Redragon logo should be emphasized. If everyone's getting this and modding them out and making them much more expensive in that essence, it must be a decent platform to start on, where you'd otherwise, for a base platform without it functional, will be paying twice the amount to begin with, from my understanding. So another thing about the design of this keyboard is that, as you can see, there's a little lip, and what that lip allows for is for less dust to come in through the sides, which is really cool. The back side as well, it's sort of an indent into it. Doesn't detract from the keyboard's functionality, maybe adds a little bit more rigidity and strength to the keyboard as well. Now, if I was to try to flex this keyboard, there's no flex whatsoever, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing regarding keyboards. From my understanding, there's a caps lock button here, as well as, I would have said, a number pad button, but I don't know what the other button will do. Maybe just indicate whether it's on or off. And yeah, there's nothing much more to it except plugging her in after we just test out what these buttons sound like, which emphasizes the Umu blue buttons, and I believe they're as tactile as your reds per se, but they do have a clickier sound, and from my understanding, these should have the spring loaded variants of these as well. They should be tactile responsive, and they require about 50 grams of pressure, so about 0.03 grams more than your cherry reds would otherwise, 47 grams from my understanding. but don't quote me again because I am a novice when it comes to this. So I'm just going to hit the delete key because this might be a spare keyboard I use to boot up systems per se. So we'll start off with the delete because that's what I'm used to. So if you hit it lightly, you'll hear a noticeable click. If you just drop it down and depress it, not the whole way, you hear that. Otherwise, when it bottoms out, there's a noticeable bottoming out sound as well. And that's the sound when it bottoms out. So I'm gonna grab it on the back side just to show you guys. So it sounds hollow on the right side here where that is. We may not have that problem of that sound in the center here. When it bottoms out, we'll see what it sounds like. So if that clicky sound when it's activating is not as prominent as on the delete. It's slightly higher pitch. And if we press the button, you can hear there's a hollower sound here as opposed to on the J. It's a bit fuller. Actually, that hollow sound is nicer, but we want a bit of consistency. So another mod which is considered and done by keyboard lovers is to put in rubber, felt, or some foam. Now I've got some sort of half rubber, half sort of foamed stuff, which I'll show you guys, to be brutally honest, which is on the El Cheapo, which I may mod after this video. We'll do the modding on this, and I might fast forward through the modding at the end of this video so that you guys can see the finished product with the customized escape key as well. Yay! Similar to a rubber insert to the back of the keyboard, and should fix that hollow sound throughout, and in turn give us a more consistent feeling keyboard from my understanding. I've never done it before, so we'll see how it goes. But we'll go to the WASD keys. I'll depress it just a little bit. You can hear that click. Now I'll press it completely. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Supposedly this is one, as with the blue keys and being clicky and whatnot, even though tactile, that's the stabilizers on the spacebar are not too shabby for the price that you pay for this keyboard. Left side, right side, center. Enter. So you can feel that enter's got a better stabilizer on it and is much more fuller in sound. And from my understanding, what we'll get with putting that rubber on the back side is everything will sound just a little more fuller. In fact, like it sounds here where it's a lot more hollow, I've got a feeling that this is what this area here will sound like after we put the rubber in it. So it does the opposite. And yeah, that's the interesting part in the way that we'll operate the basic mods that we're going to do on this. So there's nothing more to it but to so on the plastic itself, there is what feels like it's not completely smooth. That may add to the effect that you're after or lessen the effect if you're happy with these keycaps. But these keycaps can be completely switched out. Obviously they give you a keycap remover. Nothing additional in the box per se except for the sticker. So yeah, it's going to be interesting playing around. Now I just want to hope that I'm not used to a 60%, let alone a 10 keyless keyboard. Currently I'm using a full-size keyboard. My secondary keyboard is a full-size keyboard and is that much larger. That's an MX Master. I've got a mix of things. I've gone through the razors and whatnot, but I don't have those anymore. But my full-size keyboard is, as you can see just here. Cool thing is, if I had to spare one of these, but these are rather expensive, these Rocat AMO keyboards, what I would get is these low profile keycaps. So I'll pull one off, and as you can see, they're low profile keycaps completely. But if I wasn't using this and I had the RGB variant of this KUMARA, then what the low profile keycaps allow for is essentially more visibility of the RGB underneath coming through, and is something to consider because it would shine a lot nicer and a lot out the sides and whatnot, but without directly hitting you in the face, which is really cool. So I'll show you guys a couple of the mods I've got. This one's the really hardcore mod. So apart from putting that material inside it, which we're going to do, I just wanted to see whether this would suit this as a rest, and it almost would, but it's a little too large. It's from a spare keyboard which I never used it in. I was just curious whether it would work just as well on this keyboard. It may. Not completely the same size, but that's not a problem. But if wrist comfort is an issue, I've got this spare little guard. But you can buy one of these from Redragon as well that suits the keyboard exactly, and they're about $17 from my understanding. But I've also got from this Extrafy, which isn't mine, okay, it's one of the family mice. What it's got in it, from memory I remember, is a couple of key belt. Now I wish the GG key was in the Extrafy color, or the color pink, but I'm not going to put Extrafy on it because there's no Extrafy mouse in my setup currently. So I have to use the GG key, and it will allow for some luminosity through it as well. And I guess the GG key will become my new escape key. Just for a little bit of difference. I would have preferred the GG key, like I said, to be in pink, because that hot pink color on this keyboard would look contrast nice. Although I've seen some modded KUMARAs before with grey keycaps on the majority end of the spectrum combined with the blacks, and they suited quite well. But just for that hot pink, for that one escape button, that would have been nice. And let's light her up and see how she looks. And then we've got a couple of different keycaps as well, so we can see how that red looks behind other colors, in case you're inclined to get the basic form of this Redragon KUMARA K552 work from there. So we'll see how these colors come up behind these two keycap colors, which from my understanding are rather popular. Bang. So we got Snake on the other hand as a, we had Snake show up. So with a little bit of that red, that pink becomes a more blood color, as you guys can see. And that's what we start off with on default. The Sebluka TECHNESS CORNER Extrafy modded Redragon KUMARA. Guys, I'm not going to press the button spastically this time around because it's lit and it's on, and who knows what will happen. But it's your compact 87 key minus the number pad budget entry level mechanical keyboard. And this is the budget of the budget because it hasn't got the RGB nature of it. We'll just see before we leave you completely whether we can change the function. We'll see if Windows key is locked automatically or not. It's not, and you can lock that as well. Also, if we hit function and memory, that's looks like it's turned off the RGB. Press it again, comes back on. Don't know if it's a different pattern or not. It's breathing now. It's the breathing pattern. So we've got semblance of some different options available, and we can up or down the strength of the lighting per se. So what we'll do is we'll hit that. Now we've got WASD keys just lit. So we'll see what other profiles are available. That's pretty cool. If you can stomach it per se, and from my understanding you can slow this down or make it faster still. So now I just turn the RGB down. I'll put it up one. I'll put it up fully now. Yeah, it shines very, very brilliantly. I'll put it to 1, the RGB. You can see it's not as corrosive to the lack of exposure that the camera can handle. And the function R just puts it back to default, I'm guessing. It's got a ghosting sort of effect, so pick up what you just pressed. This is standard breathing mode. And back to the start. So this sort of a layout with rainbow on different levels would be pretty cool as well. But that's what you get with the RGB variant. And make sure that's not the rainbow RGB variant that you get, but you get the actual true RGB variant, because I believe they're around the same price, where you can get that rainbow RGB effect on the RGB variant of this keyboard as well. So I'm going to put in something that's a lot less intrusive on my eyesight. Probably that one with a little ripple. So with a little ripple. So it's almost lit. But just that slight little ripple shows that it's not a stagnant keyboard per se. So yeah, y'all, that's been the unboxing of the KUMARA K552 Redragon LED backlit mechanical keyboard with the blue switches. Hope you guys got something out of this. I'm going to pop this back on the desk there and get some use into it rather soon. Otherwise, we're going to try to mod the back of it, or put in that little bit of what is essentially this material here, double it up and see how it sounds with this in it. And that'll be my first keyboard mod. If I enjoyed this keyboard, perhaps I may, the next mod I'll attempt will be the cable change, so that if I stuff that up, any further modding won't go down the beaten track, because I stuffed up essentially what is the only cable attached to it to begin with. So my name's Seb Luca. Thanks for joining us at the TECHNESS Corner today with our Redragon keyboard unboxing and slight overview review. And again, don't forget to hit that like and or sub button. It helps me out a lot. It's a free way to show your support. And again, Seb Luca signing out from the TECHNESS Corner. Bye. So my first keyboard modding, guys. From my understanding, it's a simple process of removing these keys. It's just going like so, and bang, they come out. So we do have the blue switches here, the UMU, or that's the shorter version of what they actually are, UMU blue switches.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. of art. I'm never gonna look back, cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me f***ed up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll
Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.
So we've roughly got the keyboard in the same position as before. I haven't turned it on. The mod is complete. So we've added, as you can see, the Extrafy KUMARA Redragon keyboard, because that's all I had lying about, guys. I do have some interesting buttons I'd like to use, but they don't shine through, which are from an old IBM model keyboard, which may be cool. But Extrafy, now listening to it, pressing that delete key, when it bottoms out, there's a noticeable bottoming out sound as well. Now I'll pop it down here. I'll press the delete key again. Okay, I'll pop it back up here, and then I'll put the, I'll see if I can actuate that point. So there's that point. It's slightly higher pitch, much more deeper, but the question is whether WASD keys. But we'll go to the WASD keys. I'll depress it just a little bit. You can hear that click. Now I'll press it completely. Enter. Shift, space. Space still has a little semblance of hollowness. I should have probably filled the bottom part here ever so slightly a little more. But if you put it on something that's already bottomed out, that's the delete. Now that bottoming out sound doesn't exist anymore, and there seems to be if anything, there might be a slight reverb on the space that could have been identified. But yeah, that hollow sound is gone with those blue clicky activated switches that have the spring, that are spring loaded as well. And now it's just a matter of turning her on essentially, and seeing if I didn't bugger up my first keyboard mod ever, or couple of keyboard mods in one per se. So let's spark her up and see if this KUMARA still lives. Cross our fingers, guys and girls. There it is. Lights to life. Same setting. Does it remember my preset? It does remember the preset, so that's something regarding what I said earlier. So setting it up with if the RGB variants with everything regarding it, and nicely to say GG is below, good game is below the Redragon logo. And yeah, guys, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I think I could still have a lot of fun with some I've realized, I've found out what it is. The keycaps I want to use here, which I can't take off this keyboard currently per se, are a very, very low profile, as you can see. They're very low profile, as you can see. And it turns out that this concept has been done before. They're called the HyperX pudding caps. So I guess I'm getting some of those at some stage in the near distant future per se. With that being said, you all, my name is Sebluka. I had the idea first, although it took me 3 seconds to come up with the idea. I lie, I never had it first. It was done a couple of years before I got a chance to, and probably someone did it a couple of years before that was even noticed on YouTube to begin with. But I like to think that I came up with the idea before I was at all affected by what's available out there. And yeah, it's been fun modding my keyboard for the first time. Even though a basic mod, it seems to have been very effective. I mean, just hear that delete key, as opposed to before where it sounded very tinny. It seems much more sturdier. It feels heavier still. Essentially, I used 2 bits of rubber, very pliable and manageable, and made the life really easy. So my name's Sebluka from the TECHNESS Corner. If you hang around this long, please hit that like and or subscribe button. Otherwise, I appreciate all the views. Leave any comments in the comment section below. I aim to receive and get to all of them in due course. Otherwise, hit us up on our socials, which are linked in the description below. Facebook is our sister site, and that's where each video is linked to YouTube, but under each video you can comment there as well. There we can have a better discussion in comparison to YouTube comments. Even though YouTube comments are pretty decent, I wish there was the availability of the community for less than 500 subscribers. But until we get there, it is what it is. My name's Sebluka from the TECHNESS Corner, and peace out. Bye.